Welcome to all board members that are present. And just for the record, I'm just going to go ahead and do a roll call to confirm who is here and present. So I'll start with myself, that yes, I am here. Pastor Lake.
Present.
Zelda Abrams.
Zelda's here.
Dean Boring.
Here.
Harry Bryant. Okay. Jonathan, no, Harry hasn't logged in.
He hasn't arrived yet, but I've been told he's trying to join us.
Okay. Brandon, Edie. Oh, Brandon.
I saw him earlier.
Here. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay. He's present, and Harry Bryant just arrived.
Harry's here too. Okay.
Yes.
Brian Godding.
Afternoon. Here.
Did I hear Brian?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, now I see. Okay. Frank Lansford, I can see him, so I know he's here.
Yep, I'm here.
Thank you. Commissioner Madden.
She is not with us today, Mr. Mundy.
Okay, thank you. Corey, I see that we actually have visual from Corey now.
Just pulled into the parking lot of my office here.
All right. And Cliff Wiley.
Here.
All right. Thank you, Cliff. So I believe hopefully all of you received the agenda packet and had an opportunity to review it. So I'll start with the first thing, and that's the financial update and project tracker. And I will open the floor to anyone that has any comments or questions, or at least if you want to make any comments about this.
Sure. I'll make a comment just really quickly. For you all, background-wise, excuse me, I'm a little hoarse, but our North Massachusetts Avenue development agreement with FERC for 313 North Massachusetts Avenue was approved on Monday by city commissioners. And so that project, which is planned for three-phase development, approximately 156,000 square feet, with a potential of 120 units or so, that was formally, that development agreement was formally approved. So now we enter into our due diligence phase, and we just try to get things aligned so that we can get that project in the ground. So congratulations to you all for pushing us to get that out there on the market, and hopefully we'll get another good project, very complementary to the Meriton development, which is just to the east of this property. So we're excited to move this one along. The developer will pay $200,000 for the property. We have about $144,000 going back in incentives, standard TIF agreement for 5 years on the property, and we're trying to incentivize the developer to get it all done. So we're offering just some extended TIF on the first phase of development for an additional 5 years, which would be solely on that CRA held property. So I'll take any questions on that, or take any other questions if any other board members have comments on the project tracker.
Elise, this is Ben.
Yes, sir.
Just a question on the North Massachusetts development, the agreement. Mm-hmm. What kind of time, are there any time frames, discussed in that agreement?
There are. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. So within the agreement, there's a 90-day due diligence period with one 30-day extension. And then our goal is to close on that 1 year from basically satisfying the conditions, which are that the developer acquired the adjacent property, which used to be the old Greyhound site, and then also that they have permits in hand and have their contractors agreement in hand as well. So for us, realistically, we could have a shovel in the ground as soon as 4 months out. It's really unrealistic because of the design that needs to happen. But the latest would be March of 2022. So that would be exhausting the extensions that could be granted just to get things in order.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right, any other comments from board members? And barring none, we can move on to, I believe, our next agenda item, which is housekeeping. And I guess, again, I'll defer to Elise if there are any housekeeping items.
No, sir. We have nothing. We have a fairly light agenda today, so no housekeeping items, sir.
Okay, thank you. And so now we can go on to item C in our agenda, and that's the action item. And we'll start with the old business, which is meeting minutes. Hopefully everyone has had an opportunity to review the meeting minutes from our last meeting. And if so, I will definitely entertain a motion for approval.
I, Eddie Lake, move the approval of the minutes.
I second it, Dean Boring.
Thank you, Pastor Lake and Dean. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion from board members? Barring none, we will proceed with a roll call vote for approval. And we'll start with myself, and I'll say aye. Pastor Lake?
Aye.
Zelda Abram?
Aye.
Dean Boring?
Aye.
Harry Bryant?
Aye.
Brandon?
Aye.
Okay, you did get hooked up. Okay, Brian Godding?
Aye.
Frank Lansford?
Aye.
Corey Petkoff?
Aye.
And Cliff Wiley?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, board, for the approval of the minutes. And now we'll move on to new business, and this is, I guess, the major action items of our board meeting this month. And that's that we need to bring on a new board member. And I'm going to turn over to Elise once again, and I'll let him handle the nomination of Brian Waller to join our board.
Thank you, sir. As many of you are aware, Mr. Mundy is in his last meeting with us. And unfortunately, his term will expire before our retreat comes this fall. And so we need to nominate a Dixieland CRA advisory board member to serve in his stead when he's done with us. And in conversations with Brian Waller, he's very interested, and he's a local contractor here in the city in Dixieland. His family has longstanding history here in the city as well. He's got previous service on the Code Enforcement Board and on the Historic Preservation Boards. He's a past president of the Polk County Builders Association. He's a licensed contractor, which will provide valuable insight for our team. And so we'd essentially be replacing a very good architect with a very fine contractor who can provide us some guidance and advice on projects that we're working on. So what we're looking for is staff is recommending that Brian Waller for Dixieland CRA to serve a 3-year term. And then if you all are in agreement with this nomination, it'll go forward to our boards and committees at the next commission meeting for approval.
Thank you, Elise. So I'll open the floor for a motion to approve Brian Waller as a future board member.
So moved, Dean.
I, Eddie Lake, second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Anyone have any further questions about Mr. Waller? And I know that, I know Mr. Waller, you know, from, I will just say, some of his activities, not so much recently, but previously in Dixieland. And of course, he's been involved with several renovations and projects within the Dixieland area. So I think he would make a great board member. So anyway, no further discussion. I will start with another roll call for the approval of Brian Waller as a new board member. I'll start with myself, and I'll say aye. Pastor Lake?
Aye.
Doug Abram?
Aye.
Dean Boring?
Aye.
Harry Bryant?
Aye.
Brandon Eady?
Aye.
Brian Godding?
Aye.
Frank Lansford?
Aye.
Corey Petkoff?
Aye.
And Cliff Wiley.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, board members. And now moving on to the second part of this kind of board structure housekeeping process is we need to basically, since this is my last meeting, Pastor Lake will become chair. And so we need to have someone elected as the new vice chair to take Pastor Lake's position. So I will open the floor up to any nominations from board members. I can tell everyone's excited about this.
Dean, would you be interested?
Who's that?
Is Brandon speaking? Dean, would you be interested?
I'll nominate you.
Well, I wouldn't mind filling the role.
Good. Absolutely. We'll definitely support that.
So, Dean, are you nominating me? Is that what's happening? Okay.
For the vice chair.
That's what happens sometimes whenever you...
Cliff Wiley seconds.
Cliff, the defensive motion right there. So we have a motion and a second for Brandon to become vice chair. I will ask for further discussions, or if there are further nominations.
Or is it Frank to be vice chair?
Okay, we have a...
I will renominate Dean then if he's tagging me.
Can you turn up?
Oh, really?
This is almost like a family airing dirty laundry out in public. Okay, well, Brandon, I think if you are willing to accept this position, I'm going to go ahead and call for a roll call vote if no one objects to that. Okay, I don't hear any objections. So all of those in favor, or I'm going to go through a roll call. Brandon Eady has been nominated to become vice chair of the board. And so I will start with myself. I guess technically I'm still on the board, so I guess, okay, I'll say yes, aye. Pastor Lake?
Aye.
Helga?
Aye.
Dean?
Aye.
Harry?
Aye.
Brandon?
Aye, and Pastor Lake, I'll make sure you're at every meeting.
Absolutely.
Brandon, and you had your opportunity. So, okay. Brian, moving on. Brian Goding,
Aye.
Frank,
Aye.
Corey,
Aye.
and Cliff.
Aye.
Okay. So the structure of the board is now official moving forward after today's meeting. And as I think we're all aware, this is a very light agenda. So we're now down to discussion items, and I will turn it over to Elise.
Yes. Well, we wanted to take this opportunity, Mr. Mundy, to acknowledge your service to the advisory board and to the city. And I'm hoping that you have that plaque that we sent your way. If you could just hold it up for us. This has turned some really formal moments into informalities where we had to get that to you before the meeting today. But we did provide that to Mr. Bundy. If you are not aware, Mr. Mundy shows up to community meetings, groundbreaking ceremonies. He definitely does not seek any affirmation and goes out of his way to make things happen for us and to provide just really quality insight. I was really impressed with Mr. Mundy. I saw him out riding around through the Paul A. Diggs neighborhood when we were working on Lincoln Square. And he wasn't just looking at our project, he was looking at some other stuff that was going on in the area. And I don't think he knew that I was behind him as he was weaving through the neighborhood in his car. But, he was really just getting a feel for the impact that our work has on the community. And so that is something that I appreciate about him. He definitely dedicates his service to some of the most challenging projects that we do have. And I know for a fact that he works with people when they have a hard time structuring how to get it done. And so we really appreciate that about him, and we thank him for his service. And we thank you for challenging us to go back and find solutions when things can be done differently. So we appreciate that, Mr. Mundy. Thank you for your service and your time. And, I'm sure we'll be working with you in another capacity soon.
All right. Well, thank you, Elise. I certainly appreciate that. And yes, I will acknowledge that I was not aware of the fact you were following me around. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate those kind words. And I just want to say thank you to the CRA staff. This plaque is, and I know it's hard to see it real well over the meeting, but it's really nice. It's a nice quality plaque, and I truly appreciate it. And also, the staff sent me a card with everyone's signature, and I will want to thank everyone on CRA staff for all of their dedication and hard work to the CRA. And then I'll also take my opportunity to thank all of the board members. What I really appreciate about this board is the wealth of knowledge and the backgrounds, the variety of backgrounds, and just the fact that this is a very diverse board and lots of different ideas and great ideas as to how to approach some of these, sometimes trying projects, trying to figure out how to keep them going forward and so forth and make them work. So, and also in the meantime, realizing that we do have a budget that we have to deal with, and that's something we have to always be mindful of as board members, that these are taxpayer dollars. So again, I just want to say thank you to everyone. This is actually my second time on the board. I was on the Dixieland board when it was initially created, and I spent several years on that board and thoroughly enjoyed it. And then whenever I was given the opportunity to rejoin the board, I was more than happy to do so. So anyway, that's, again, I really appreciate working with all of you. And thank you to the board members and staff once again. So at this point, I guess I will ask Elise, are there any other things? I know last time I went to adjourn the meeting, and he said, well, wait just a minute, I have something else to talk about. So.
Well, I just want to say that the next board meeting is August 6th. it is very, very well likely that it will be another virtual meeting. So just keep that in mind.
All right, thank you.
Ben, I would like
Anything
to.
else?
Ben, yes. I'd
Okay,
like
go ahead, Pat.
First of all, let me thank you for your visionary leadership, your care and concern for what this board does in the community. Thank you for the wealth of knowledge that you brought to us, asking the right questions, helping us to deal with our timelines and making sure the resources are going in the right direction, in the right place. So you'll be receiving calls from me for advice. And we'll make sure that Brandon and I work together. So he'll make sure I get to the meeting, but I'll make sure he's as well. And to all of the board members, you all do a fantastic job. We appreciate your commitment and sacrifice to make the proper investments in our community. So thank you again for your service, Ben. And we want to thank all of the board members and, of course, the excellent staff and Elise for doing such a fine job of building and rebuilding and reshaping our community. Thank you. And appreciate the opportunity to serve, and I pray that I do justice. But Ben, your shoes are too big for me to fill, so I'll just take half.
I don't think that's the case at all. I know you're going to do a great job. Appreciate your dedication, willing to serve. So, and I appreciate those kind words, Pastor Lake. I really do. So, and I know one thing for sure, you are very involved in the community, and I know that that will serve this board very well. All right. This has definitely been, I think we've all agreed, the last few months have been definitely unique. We've all adjusted to it. And, you know, I know we all wish or hope that we'll be back to our normal meeting style and where we can actually see each other in person, you know, as soon as we can, but we also want to do that safely. So anyway, again, I want to say, barring any further comments, I'm going to adjourn this meeting. And again, thank you to everyone.
Excellent. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Ben. Great job as chairman.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you, Dean.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey,